Dashboards in Excel are interactive visual displays that summarize and present key data in a clear, concise, and easy to understand format, usually in a single sheet. So the purpose of dashboard is to give decision makers a quick overview of important metrics and analyze trends and patterns. Common use of dashboard in HR is to monitor and analyze employee attrition trends. So what is attrition? What do we mean by that? You can put your answers on the chat. Attrition. What do you mean by attrition? Anyone? Okay. So in HR, attrition refers to the gradual reduction of a company's workforce that occurs when employees leave the company and are not replaced. Okay? So that's when employees leave the company. Okay, so now imagine that your HR director comes to you and asks you to create a report about attrition in your company. So a report must show three things. If attrition is more prevalent on specific demographics, including age group, marital status, and gender. Okay? And he mentioned also that he needs it within the next hour. So you might think that this is a lot of work, right? And that you don't have enough time to do it. But don't worry. I'm here to help you create that report. And I'm Jeanette Calderon. I'll be your trainer for today. We are going to create not just simple report, okay? We are going to create an interactive HR dashboard report using tables, pivot charts, and slicers. And at the end of this training, you'll walk away with a completed attrition report. Are you ready? Everyone, are you ready to do that? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yes, we're all ready. So now I have here a data, okay? I'll share my Excel file with you. I have here a data, okay? There you go. Yes. This data here, okay? Hang on, sorry. Let me just close this one first. So I have here this Excel data, okay, that I want to share with you. This data. Can you see it right now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So every report starts with data, right? So I have here a list of the information of the employees, attrition, attrition count, where yes or number one means they've left the company. Okay. I have the age band here, marital status, gender, department, education, etc. So all the information that we need is already here. The only thing that we need to do is to convert this data into a table. Why table? Because a table will organize this data in a more structured way. And it's also the best source of a pivot table. So let's now do that. First, I click within the list, I go to insert, and I go to table. You see here that this command just simply highlights everything, all the data. Plus, this is checked. My table has headers, which means that the first row is the header row. So just click OK here. Yes. And after that, you will see that the table design tab here, okay, is now active. And I have here the table name. So we can type here HR data. In the table name, spaces and special characters are not allowed, but underscore is allowed to force a space. Okay? Press the enter key here, right? And now we're ready to summarize this data and create that pivot table that we want. Again, we want the summary of the attrition by marital status, by age band, and by gender. Okay? So first, where is the command that we need? Okay, it should be here. With pivot table under the table design, summarize with pivot table, but it's also found under insert and pivot table. Okay, so you can go here or even here from table or range. Okay, click that one. You'll see this dialog box. Select a table or range. The table is again named as HR data, and choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. We want to put it on a new worksheet, and we click OK. So now we have here a blank pivot table. On the left, you'll see this one, right? This is a blank pivot table. And on the right, you will see that you have here the pivot table fields, which is equivalent to the different columns that we have in the table, right? We also have here 4 different areas where we can add these fields over here to build this pivot table. All right. So now we're ready to create our first summary, the summary of attrition. Okay. By age band. Okay. So we just check age band from here, right? Check it to add it. Now you see that it's added into the rows area. But don't worry, you can still drag it around. You can drag it to the columns, you can drag it to the filters, right? We want it in the rows area. Then you can even add the attrition count. Attrition count, if I check it, it's a numerical field. That's why it went to the values area. The values area is where we add the fields that we want to be summarized or calculated. So you see here the sum of attrition count. Okay, so we have our first report. Okay, so let's observe here, right? Which is the highest attrition rate? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's among 25 to 34 years old. Okay, so the first summary is done. Okay, now we create our second report by marital status. So let's go here again, data. We go to insert pivot table, right? And instead of a new worksheet, I want to choose an existing worksheet. I want to add it on worksheet number 1. Click here. Maybe we add it here. Click OK. We'll just do the same as what we've done on the first report. So we've added marital status and attrition count. Okay? So there you go. So don't worry, you can still add it. You can still change it to columns, to here. Yeah, you see you're still seeing the same data, but just in a different presentation, right? Okay. Next, we need to add it by gender. Another way on how we can add the pivot table is just to click on a blank cell. We go here, insert pivot table. Now we're asked for the source. We know the name of the table is HR data. It's not case sensitive, so we can type it like this, even in small letters, all small letters, it's fine. We click OK. All right. We need to add it by gender and by attrition count. And there you have it, right? We now have the summary. Okay. We also want to know how much is the rate of attrition. Let's create that pivot table. So we go here to insert pivot table. We click on a new worksheet, right? Click OK. And we just want to know how many employees do we have. Okay, we can check this one, employee number. And since it's a number, it will automatically go to the values area if I check it, all right? Now you see that this is summing up the employee number, which is wrong. So we should just right click here. We go to summarize values by and we choose count, just to count the employees. We have a total of 1,470 employees, okay? And the attrition is this one. We check on attrition count, it's added to the values, and it's a total of 237. So again, the total employees and the attrition count, okay, is equal to 1,400. It's equal to this, okay? And we want to know how many active employees were left in the company. So just subtract these two, okay? We also want to know the attrition rate. I would just divide 237, which is the attrition count, to the total number of employees. Right? And that's what? 16%. Okay? Is the rate of attrition. Now that we have created our pivot table, it's best that we label them properly. So let's say this one is for the demographics, and this one maybe is for the KPI. And we can name also the pivot table. Just right click here, we can go to pivot table options, and you can see here the pivot table name. We'll name this one age band because it's attrition by age band. This one, marital status. This one here, gender. And there you go. Okay, this one, KPI again. All right. Now, after we have named these summaries, right, we can now visualize these data using charts. Okay, so let's now create charts. To create charts, you just click on the pivot table. We go to pivot table analyze. All right. So this pivot table analyze is like a contextual tab. It'll only show up when you click on the pivot table. You see, if I click outside, we lose the interface of the pivot table. Okay, so make sure we click inside the pivot table. So we have here pivot table analyze and pivot chart. So I click that one. I choose the chart type. Column chart is fine. We click OK. Yeah. And we can edit the chart. Maybe we lose the chart title, the grid lines, the legend. Maybe we want to show the data labels, right? We don't want to see this one as well. So I will hide all field buttons on the chart. So at least we have more space for our chart. Okay. We'll do the same with the marital status pivot table. So I go here, pivot chart, click OK. All right. Have this one. Use this chart title, grid lines, legend. I want the data labels, and we just hide this. All right. And of course, by gender. You click here. Maybe this time I want a pie chart or maybe a donut chart, right? You click OK, right? You have this one. You don't want the chart title, the legend, and we want a call out for the data labels. We just hide this one again. Okay? Yeah. All right. Now that this is done, okay, we can now go back to our first pivot table. And we just want to filter this according to maybe the department. Okay, so how can we filter it by department? We can create what we call slicers. Okay, how do we add the slicers? Again, we have to click in the pivot table. We go to the field that we want to add as a slicer over here. Then we just right click and we go add a slicer. Now here we go. All right. So if I click on HR, all right, you see here that again, attrition is more prevalent on 25 to 34 years old. But yeah, same goes for R&D. Okay. But if you've noticed, only the first chart is moving, right? Only the first chart is filtered. How about these two and this one too, right? Don't worry, we can connect the slicer to three other charts or the two other charts or three other pivot tables by just simply right clicking over here and we go to report connections. Okay, you can see here that we have all the pivot tables that we've created. Okay, because they've got the same source. Remember the table which is named as HR data. So all we need to do is just to check this one to connect it. I click here Look at that, right? So everything is now filtered. Okay, I click here to clear the filter. Okay, now maybe we can create another slicer. Oh, you go here, maybe by gender, right click, add a slicer. Okay, again, to connect the slicer to multiple pivot tables, we select it, we right click on it, and we go to report connections. Okay, just check all of these and we click OK. Also, when you select the slicer, you'll see that the slicer tab over here is active. You can change its color, this one, to go with the theme, right? Okay. So now that we have all the elements of our pivot table, we have pivot charts, okay? We have all the elements of our dashboard. We are now ready to put it into our dashboard. So I've pre-created this one. It's just all shapes, just labels. And we just want to copy this. Okay? I can do it here, copy, and paste it over here. Okay? Yeah. And of course, we can just simply add it here. Okay? There you go. Again, go here, we copy this, we put it here. We can close this one now. Okay. Finally, we copy this and put it over here. Finally, we get to copy also these slicers and put it over here. Okay. Is this one okay? All right. All good?
Perfect.
Yes. Now we're only missing these information. What we need to do is just to insert here shapes. Okay. And I can link this one to the other sheet, the KPI sheet, to get the number of employees, right? I can duplicate this one, Control D that, and I'll get the attrition. Okay, I can duplicate this one again. I can get the current employees or active employees. Duplicate this one again and the attrition rate. There we go. And of course, we can format this one, right? No fill, no outline, to make the font bigger, to bold effect that, change the alignments. Okay. And of course, we can copy the format using the format painter. Just double click here, click, click, click. All right. Press escape to disable the format painter. Maybe we can change the color of that one to orange. And look at that. This is now our dashboard. And it's done. Okay? So what do you think about it? Let me stop sharing now. Okay?
Yes, please feel free to ask a question in the chat. Thank you, Jeanette. We have a question from Bugelmuna. Sorry for the not pronouncing well the name. Is it possible to calculate ratio with the pivot table?
Yes, it's possible. Okay? So it is probably trivial, but how could we change the order of categories inside pivot tables or pivot chart? It's possible. Let me show you. Okay? Sorry, I have to share my screen again.
Sure,
Okay?
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a few minutes left, so.
Yes, yes. So over here, right, we can see that you see here that under 25, you see that this is not in order, right? So we can just simply drag this one up. That's how we will do it. Okay? So just drag this one up. Sorry. We just point here. Sorry. Drag it up. There we go. So under 25, 25 to 34, 35. Yeah. So this one is the right order, right? So you see the chart also followed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope I answered your question. Okay? Do we have another question? Any other question? So if we have more lines later in your table, then how do you integrate and update your dashboard? Simply refresh it. Okay? You just have
Mm-hmm.
to refresh the dashboard. You just right click on the pivot table. Let me share my screen again. Okay? Yeah. So for example, more data were added to the table, right? And the reason why we're using table, it's because of automatic expansion. It will automatically expand as we add new rows, as we add new columns. So if ever new records were added, all we need to do is to right click on the pivot table and click refresh. That's it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let me stop sharing now. Okay. Do we still have other questions?
Yeah, please ask your question in the chat.
Hmm. Okay. Yes, you're most welcome.
Yeah, I put the a survey, a link to the survey. So if you have a few minutes, please fill it out so that we can have your feedback. Okay, we can wait a few seconds before a few minutes for questions. Any questions on Excel, or we focused on these HR topics, but you may have other questions.
Yes. So in a real training, we're going to discuss to you in more detail. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do we use tables? How do we use pivot tables? What are the different features and commands within the pivot table, pivot chart? Okay. And not only that, we also offer um, different other trainings on Excel, on Word, on PowerPoint, on
Power,
even
Power
Power
BI.
BI. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to to go further, we do train worldwide in different languages, as I said, on major topics, all topics about Excel. It could be computing on Excel, like VBA, or basic functions as well. So do not hesitate. Usually a class, it's like a coaching. You would have like 3 trainings of 2 hours. That makes 6 hours. A lot of them, of our customers, ask for a short, effective training instead of having groups. We are more into coaching, one-to-one training, so that you can go and learn much faster. That's our key point. So do not hesitate. I can share some pricing with you. For instance, if you have let's say Excel training of 6 hours, it would cost you about 540 euros. You see, all included. And you could also have coaching, co-pilot coaching of 4 hours for 540 euros. We didn't mention Copilot, but of course, Copilot is included in the coaching, if you have Copilot, of course. but it helps. So we can show you the tips on how to prompt to get the answers or the right tools or answers faster. Okay, if you don't have any more questions, I guess we're going to end this flash training. Again, thanks a lot. We hope to see you next week, and please forward to your friends, peers, colleagues the flash trainings we have, and we'll be very happy to see you next week on the 8th for Power BI. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thanks, Jeanette, for
Thank
your
you. Thank you,
great.
everyone, for attending.
Yes, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And you get the replay in a few days.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeanette. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.